Welcome to SSUM UP TV. My name's Ben Davies and today we are at L-Acoustics in central London. We are at their beautiful new showroom. And you might think that L-Acoustics is the commercial speaker of choice. You'll see them at most live events, but they are also heavily involved in the residential market in both home cinema, hi-fi and home nightclubs. So let me show you a very unique space, something that will blow your mind. Come with me. Hello. Today we are with Mr. Nick Fitch at L-Acoustics for our little SSUM media tour. Hello Nick, how are you?
I'm really well, thanks Ben. How are you?
I am always well. So this is my second appearance at your lovely showroom in
Highgate.
There we go. First time round, it was wonderful. Second time round, emotional.
Cool.
That's what I'm going to put against it. So I'm going to give you my feeling first, and then we'll discuss the room.
Yep.
We'll throw some B-roll in and see. It's nice. It's the way we do things in the film world.
Yeah, it's clever.
So that room is aesthetically beautiful. And because you have pretty much no technology on show, it's probably the most emotional response I've had from a room in a very long time. That orchestral piece that's in there, about halfway through the demo, had my heart rate change. I genuinely felt myself increase my heart rate. So I'm emotionally attaching myself to the way that that music is being dispersed through the room. It's insane. It's an insane experience.
An experience is the key word.
Yeah.
It's the way that it's set up. It's an automated demo. I pre-warned you about that. It is my voice, so you have to listen to me.
An unusual one.
It's funny, I go to sleep hearing myself saying it. But it's all about an experience. And before we had that in place, we used to kind of do it manually. But when you do it manually, there's time for questions, there's time for things like that. But actually, when you take that away, you're focused.
Yeah.
And you get that experience of everything that the space can do and how unique it is, because I don't believe there's anything else that exists, anything like this. And it walks you through how you could live with a space like that in your own property. And it creates an emotional experience. And that's what it's meant to do.
Yeah, so many times I hear the phrase a dynamic space, and that's what I would attach to that room. It can be a 2-channel listening room. It can be, I want to meditate and yoga and do my yoga. It's not often I do that. Don't have the attention span, my friend.
Maybe a space like that would help.
Maybe it would. Again, the music type in there. I'm not a listen to classical orchestral music kind of person, but to experience that setup and the way it hits you is like being at a live event. And it's so unusual to feel that, knowing that it's coming from technology.
And, you know, you made a comment when A Star Is Born started.
We all know it's my favourite.
I made the same face and the same reaction exactly when that was decided that was going in there.
Yeah.
I was like, really? Guys, this clip's been played
Done to death
far too many times in this industry. But every single person goes, the second I knew it was that, my eyes rolled. But then I was, within 5 seconds, I was utterly captivated and never experienced it like that.
Well, we know it well. I think what was really interesting about that piece was the separation within the vocal. Every time I've listened to that, and I've listened to it a lot, ISC, essential install, everyone's demo rooms. We've had it
Mm.
to pieces, so I know it very, very well. Yeah, the way that the vocals are separated within that piece in that room is different from what I've heard before. The clarity is insane. It's insane. You can really feel the separation between everything that's going on.
And it was Christian, our founder, that chose that piece, and he was very specific because he said, I want someone, Lady Gaga is a performer. I want a clip that's from Hollywood. I don't want to show a concert. I want to show a clip that's
Yeah.
from a Hollywood movie, but I want someone who is actually the voice that's singing that.
Yeah. Look, it's incredible. And if you're an integrator, you absolutely should just come down here for the experience. Forget about the products. You know, I'm not saying that it isn't an exceptional product whatsoever, but the experience, tick it off your list of things that you need to do.
I think it's truly unique, as I touched on earlier, and I think we know people want this within their properties because we're delivering projects with these technologies in it now. And if you're, as an integrator, not aware of what's possible, are you doing your customer a disservice?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because yeah, it's not for everyone. But what that space is about is showing what the possibilities are. And for some people, they don't know that that exists, so they want to learn how that could be possible for them. And then for other people, it's just a really good introduction for them to our ethos and how we're trying to push the boundaries. And yes, we make loudspeakers, but that we do so much more than that as well.
Well, that's what I want to touch on. That's what I think is quite important about the space is that the speakers are almost secondary. I think L-Acoustics, you think of it as a speaker first brand, but the technology behind what's happening and the way that that immersive audio is being delivered is insane. And there is a whole chunk of L-Acoustics that are producing or have this R&D department that are solely focusing on the way content's being delivered in a room. That's great, isn't it?
Exactly. And the whole concept of why that space came about and why we decided to create this solution was quite an interesting one in itself. Of that, our founder was renovating a home in the south of France, and working with the architects, working with the interior designer, and he had this space in his home, and he couldn't quite work out, like, well, I want to have flexibility for however I could use this room because there's so many different use cases for it. Maybe I do want to throw a party with 50 people in it, all dancing, or maybe my daughter wants to be in there playing piano, or maybe I want to be in there doing yoga, maybe I want to watch a movie in there. But in a traditional world, a stereo system is, if we think about it in the most traditional sense, would be a pair of floor standers, and you then orientate your seating to face towards
those,
them,
yeah.
and then that means your furniture is fixed in that position. For a cinema experience, same thing, but more speakers. Well, what if you want to change the position of your furniture at some point? What if you don't know because you haven't picked your furniture at that point? The idea of HYRISS is that it removes those fixed speaker positions around because you have speakers in a grid like you do with lighting, and you just recall a different scene, or as we call it, a signature, for how you're using that space. And as a user experience, it's super simplistic.
Yeah. And once you finish kind of in that experience center, you as an integrator, you can come into here and actually find the pieces that are put together to make that what it is.
Absolutely. And we show everyone HYRISS. Everyone that comes through the door will get a HYRISS experience, whether it's relevant to their project or not. It's just about kind of introducing people to the brand, telling the story, where we came from. And then within this space, it allows you to actually see physically what brings it together.
Yeah.
The integrators always want to see the nuts and bolts of how it's put together, showing the actual loudspeakers, which are otherwise completely hidden in that space. They can see the speakers, they can see the subwoofers, they can see the amplifiers, the processors, etc., how it's all kind of put together. But then also we, within this space, can go from our smallest speaker kind of up to something bigger. It's typically about the biggest that you would put in a residential or marine application, and actually experience how from you know, we do it in different ways, whether we go from large down to small or small up to large, is that the sound is the same across the range.
Yeah.
And again, that's useful when you know, integrators are bringing their clients here and bringing interior designers and interior designers and architects into the space, because most of the time the technology is being hidden, and it allows them to actually get hands-on, see how big the boxes are, see what's going to have to be
Yeah, the
involved,
application of how
what
it'll
the
be
different
fitted.
brackets are that are available, and get a bit more technical
Yeah.
about it. And you
Gives
know,
the integrator some confidence.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's really kind of key to that. And you know, this is always a great discovery point for people first coming to the L-Acoustics brand. We then do training. We don't actually host the training here. We do it off-site, where you know, integrators can get more hands-on with the product. But you know, it's just a really good kind of intro into it, and experiencing the products just in a, you know, in a stereo application as well. We also do have the ability to be able to show 7.1.4 content in this room as well. So you know, again, it's a different price point.
Yeah.
You know, someone could leave that space going, whoa, okay, that's amazing, but you know, I've not got the kind of client that's going to spend that kind of money or want that kind of experience. So even though that can do your traditional cinema demonstrations or your traditional stereo demonstrations, this is shown in a more traditional format that I think the industry is more used to.
I was going to say, like, integrators like to sit in a room and see the performance and visually see the speaker that's doing it.
Yeah,
I think it sits well
exactly.
with them.
And quite often we'll start in this room,
Yeah.
right? So go, yeah, you know, this is who we are, this is where the kind of product goes, and then for, you know, the icing on the cake, you want to go all out, that's where you have.
It's an insane
You know, you take all of the nuts and bolts, that's what you can end up with.
Yeah, and you have to experience it. I think in this industry we're so lucky. I think because we almost dilute our experiences because we get audio fatigue from going through so many demos
Yeah.
and sitting in so many different rooms. But this is genuinely completely different. You know, like I have done every demo room out there.
Mm.
And because it's a cinema format and because you are hyper focused on the same demo, but always delivered in a surround sound Dolby Atmos
Mm.
format, is that when you come and experience something like this, it's just a different level, a different game completely to that. I know exactly what I'm looking for when I sit in a cinema room, you know? And I think with this, it changes the parameters of what is out there, and it really does make you think, well, actually, there's projects where this has an application.
Yeah.
And there's quite a lot of them.
There are, and it's amazing because of course, you don't have to have every element of that.
Yeah.
You know, ambience where it changes the acoustics of the space dynamically for how you're using the space. That's great, but in a lot of instances, people say, well, you know, this room is just going to be this room, so I don't want to do that. Or maybe the acoustics, we can't get the acoustics as good as that room are to start with. So, but we'd love to have the ability to not have a fixed listening position.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, that's just an element of that, and we can add that to the project. And we are seeing a huge uptake in projects where people are just showing that as an option to the client as an extra, saying, you know, it would be cool if you did this. And they're going, yeah, of course we want that.
Yeah.
And yeah, just remove, you know, making a space more usable.
Yeah.
Don't just have one space that can do one thing.
Yeah.
However big your property is, having multi-purpose spaces means it'll always be usable.
Oh, this is it. This is absolutely, and we're definitely seeing more of that. Especially I'm seeing with our clientele, with some clients that have had a cinema room when they've had kids and they're now either downsizing or they're staying in the same house but just not using the space and renovating it. And things like cinema rooms are disappearing
Yep.
because they're just like, well, it was great as a family application, but now we've got this space where we're spending more time with friends, so it's kind of more of a bar. You know, we still want surround sound.
Yep.
And we honestly, those we weren't seeing those before.
No.
And now they're starting to kind of slip into the
Trends, you know, more people wanting to have, you know, use karaoke at home, more people actually like, you know, playing instruments, you know, and having a space in the house that's good to do that in. People recording at home.
Yeah.
You know, there's people that record podcasts in their own homes. There's people that record their own music in their homes, that DJ themselves and stuff like that. And having a space which can just dynamically adjust without having to have a separate system for each use
one.
case
Yeah.
is a really powerful narrative, I think.
Yeah. And when you think of it on that level, it also allows a system like this, which would probably put it into it's not a cheap product, and it's not the point of the product. But when you're not buying multiple systems that are cinema, you know, DJ, you know, music setup, hi-fi
Yeah.
setup, you can kind of level it off to one.
And you know, price point of that room, we know full well that people are spending that amount of audio just for it to be a cinema application.
Yeah.
And you know, we are doing cinema room designs, but where we're adding our processing on top of it so that it can still be a multi-purpose space.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's really interesting seeing how the market is taking it up. And you know, I think when we started the planning of this solution and the space in itself, it was kind of thinking, you know, is this going to be something that people understand? And until we delivered it, it was then kind of that you have that penny drop moment and you go, I can so see. And you know, we are getting sent plans across now where it's, you know, we kind of almost have an internal chat of going like, they've designed it for us, great. You know,
Yeah.
because the architects and interior designers are thinking more like this as well.
Yeah.
Everyone's thinking about a multifunctional space that can do lots of things.
Yeah.
And you just go, cool, that's it. That sound system, put that in there. That's going to give them so much flexibility.
It's aesthetically gorgeous in there. Like even
Mm.
you were saying beforehand, even the furnishings in there is just, it's all at peak level.
And it's part of our visual identity. These are our corporate colors that you will see now throughout our offices worldwide as we open them. Obviously, this is the first of this showroom. We're opening another one in the US this year. So that will be in the same, you know, same visual identity. The room doesn't have to look like that. It doesn't have to feel like that. It could be, of course, however the interior design and architecture team do it. This is just we want it that when you see this space, when you walk into it, because you don't see any products,
Yeah.
that you know that it's L-Acoustics.
Yeah. It is, it's an exceptional place. And if I'm an integrator sat watching this now, where do I sign up? Where do I get in contact, my friend?
Really easy. You go to our website, l-acoustics.com. There's a contact us section on there. Say that you'd like to come and organise a visit, and one of the team will be in touch to make that happen.
Is this something that is very much a integrator or like an integrator by themselves or as a team? Are you quite happy to take on a group of people in the
So
space?
yeah, I mean, it's been quite interesting actually seeing how it's done. You know, it's kind of we've seen, you know, some of the bigger integrators. You'll kind of get the management come here, and then all of a sudden they've gone, do you know what? We have to get the whole team here. So I think it was last week or the week before, maybe we had a team of 20 of the company came in, had the demo, and then we booked this space out for them later that afternoon. So they had their weekly PM design meeting here
Nice.
in the building. You know, it's perfectly possible to do that kind of thing here. We're very open and flexible. We do have to have a certain cutoff in the evening for demonstrations, just because there is a little bit of noise transfer outside of the building. We really implore integrators to actually bring their network of interior designers, architects, developers as well to the space. And you know, we're open to hosting events around that as well, because we believe the response that we've had from the design community especially has been remarkable, because everyone's fascinated by it and they don't realize that anything like that is possible within a private residence, and also actually how easy it is to integrate it into the fabric of a space within a home. We had an integrator sent an end client here recently with their interior designer and architect, and I had the usual kind of phone call as they were on their way here saying, look, just to let you know, these guys, they're really kind of anti-speakers, anti-technology. The client wants a system that's going to perform, but the interior designer and architect are going to be pushing very, very hard to make sure everything can't be seen. The interior designer and architect were the ones that actually added more zones of L-Acoustics into that property, because they saw how easy we'd made it to integrate it into the
It adds
space.
so much weight.
Yeah.
I think bringing an interior designer and architect here for any integrator is going to add so much kudos to your business. Is that it's set up in a way that is exactly how you want to be perceived as an integrator. It's how the market should be perceived,
Yep.
is that we integrate things beautifully that perform exceptionally.
Yeah.
That should be a t-shirt.
If you want to start your merch store again, that'd be great. But yeah, and you know, it's the other elements of it as well. You know, there's not much lighting in the space, but again, it helps transform it. What we do with the video artwork on all the other complementary screens, that's to show, you know, that could be a window in real life, but
Yeah.
you know, they dynamically move to cover art and stuff like that, to digital artwork. It's all just, you know, tying in the pieces of the jigsaw, which we don't sell any of those third-party things, but it allows, again, people to think outside of the box.
It's incredible. And thank you so much for letting us down here for the second time. I implore any integrator, interior designer, end user to come and experience it and tell me I'm wrong, that you won't emotionally connect to that room. It is an exceptional place. I always love coming down here. There's always lots of things to play with.
Yeah.
And it's just a great place to be, my friend.
Well, thank you for coming. Great to see you again.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, L-Acoustics. And we'll see you on the next video.